color. I want to do more color, but I get done with the burn, and it's like, if I put color in it after all these hours I spent, am I going to ruin it? So that one, because it was an experiment, I accepted the fact that I might ruin it. Others, it's like, no, I'm not going to take the chance, but I will start adding more color. Watercolor, you can do acrylics, but you really would want to water them down because you will cover your burn with an acrylic. It's opaque. I use different colors, different kind of pencils, which I didn't pull out. They're probably sticking in my bag. There's a Rembrandt Lyra, which has a lot of, it's a real oil kind of pencil, oil pencil. That one does nicely. Some people like it. There's regular color pencils. You just have to know how to work with them. Watercolor pencils. And believe it or not, I have actually tried some pastel. The chalk pastel. This little section here, I was doing examples of different colors and different finishes. Is chalk pastel, and it doesn't come off. And I do have something over the top of it, but even when it wasn't over the top, I melted it down in with terpenoid, or you can use alcohol, and it'll melt it down in, and it's just not coming off. So this may be an option as well. Trying to think of anything else.
Yes. What are your woods of choice?
Oh, yes. This one's actually not in too good a shape. I like Italian poplar. It has very little grain. It's light. Dark woods don't do too well if you're burning them because they're dark on dark. Not even butternut, although my daughter did do a butternut piece, and it was very good, and she sold it. But this one is what I mostly work in. I do have some birch. It's not going to color the same. The burn isn't going to be quite the same color because there is a little bit of difference. And I burnt on pine, but it has to be very dry because if it is not, it weeps sap. And that happened to Jeannie when she was doing a plate. Apparently they didn't get the plate totally dried out before they put it together. And all the time she was burning these wolf pups in it, and it was weeping sap on her, and get it on her pen tips. I've got some other woods that people have given me to try.
Basswood?
Yeah, you can do basswood. Yeah, I've done some basswood. And yes, I have done the good old, what's that stuff we use for putting up walls before sheetrock. If you're putting up a solid wall, I can't think of it now. Layers, they put layer together. Plywood, thank you. For some reason, I think mentally I don't want to ever burn on plywood again. So I don't remember its name. I had somebody ask, they did a plywood Boy Scout box, and he wanted me to stipple the Boy Scout symbol and his child's name on it. And the thing with that is it has a lot of grain, and you guys have worked with grain, and you know how it can be very soft, and it can also be very hard. And on that, it was very hard. And so the regular wood burned fine, and then you would hit that hard grain, and it wouldn't burn as dark. So I would have to go back over those sections with a slightly hotter temperature, because I can actually control on this how hot it gets. I can get it so hot that flames shoot up when I hit it on which you really don't want to do unless you want scorch everywhere. If that's your goal, to scorch the area around it, then go for it.
What is your source for the Italian poplar?
I actually get them from the woodcraft shop. When they come down for the show, they usually have some. I'm usually, as soon as they're open for buying, I'm running over there to grab my stuff for whatever class I'm teaching. I can also order it from them, but as you know, wood is not light. Not even these little things, they seem light here. But when you order, 20 of these and 40 of the little tiny squares, and by the time they put it all together, it's very heavy, and you doubled the cost of your wood. So that's, and I have found a source also for the birch, and that's over at the Artisan and Crafts place on Southwest Boulevard.
Artisan Craftsman Supply.
Yes, yeah. And they have, but you got to look through a lot of them, because a lot of them, they're thinking you're going to paint on them so you can cover up the knot holes. So sometimes there are knot holes and things like that you don't like.
What temperature ranges do you use?
Well, these are 1 through 10, not 0 through 10. They don't actually tell you the temperature range on there, but I bet I could, if I looked all that stuff up, I'd find how hot it actually was going. But if I can cause a piece to catch on fire and burn down like that and smoke, then it's got to be pretty hot. Now, other things you can burn on, is paper. Watercolor paper does pretty good, but you gotta actually go higher than you do for wood. And that's because paper's treated, they're chemically treated, and to try to reduce the chance of it catching on fire if you left a piece of paper in your car and the sun beat down on it like maybe today. So you can also do cardboard. There's an artist out there who wood burns cardboard. Yeah, that's a lot of acid in that thing. I don't know how long they're going to last up. And somebody was talking about, you're talking about the guy that did with the magnifying glass to burn. There is an pyrographer out there who actually does his burns that way. He's out there, and I'm like, gosh, you have to, I don't know how long it takes you to do that, because you got to hold it, get it hot enough, and then start moving. And he does big pieces doing that. I was looking, and it was looking pretty cool. You can burn bone. I would like to burn bone. You can burn gourds. Gourds, you have, I think you may have to go up a little high on that. Leather, you can burn leather, but you got to drop it down low, because if you don't, you're going to end up with burning right through. You're basically branding the leather with your wood burner. So I've got some, and you don't want to use anything that's, it's not, I mean, oh, it might help if I turned it on. It's not, yeah, I do that. You don't want to use chemically tanned leather, because when you burn, you release the chemicals, and you're breathing those in. So it's really hard to find vegetable tanned, and it's expensive when you do. So that's one of the reasons I don't do a bunch of that. Otherwise I would. I looked it up, and it was like, oh, that's really, really expensive. Why are we not? We're on, and I'm not getting anything. Well, it's going to make for an interesting one, isn't it? They've dropped this too many times. Yeah, it's starting to. There we go. Like I said, it's a newer tip. Maybe I don't have it all the way down. Safety, but I'm just going to push it. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel the heat going through. There we go. Nice smoke, and I love the smell. It's like having a fireplace on. And that was set at just a little over 4. And you can see, well, you will see that you can get a nice dark burn. Keep in mind, physics always apply. As you move, the energy which gives you the heat is being transferred to the wood, and therefore this starts to cool down. And as it cools down, it doesn't burn as hot, and it doesn't burn as deep. So sometimes you have to pull it back a little, give it a couple seconds, and do it again. This particular, I got a piece of ash on there. This particular, what did I say? Lost my train of thought. That's okay.
Does it mess you up being left-handed?
Not at all. You know, we're the only ones in our right mind.
Yeah.
But I drew with pencil, and you can transfer patterns with graphite paper, tracing paper. Just understand that the graphite's not too bad, but the tracing paper doesn't like to come off. It kind of, it's like you're scraping it off, you know. I use Choco paper. I have a piece somewhere floating around, this blue, and it actually like puts it down in blue. And it's supposed to be erasable. Well, not that erasable, but it fades with time, which I found out on my 1 foot by 2 foot piece that took me several years. I set it aside after I had transferred my photo. And I said, okay, I'm ready to work on it. And all the trees were gone. There was this whole thing of trees. They were gone. Except for where I'd extended them, because my paper, my pattern that I'd created wasn't wide enough for what I had there, so I had hand drawn. So I was able to at least, and I still had it taped on, so I was able to at least figure out where everything was. But after that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to draw these few trees, flip it over, burn, then draw the next few, so that wouldn't happen again. So you kind of learn your lesson the hard way. There was a lot of work too. So this is basically this tree here on the big piece, and you can see I did a little bit of a demo on it. This pen tip, the shader is really good for it, because you can come up with a line, just like that, or you can come in and darken it. Now you see I've got pretty high, so I'm getting a real good deep burn. But if you don't want that dark of a burn, there's a couple of things to do. And one is you can turn down the heat. The other is move faster. One of the things with the students I have, and it's hard for them to understand it, and I keep repeating that, because their first thing to do, and this is the scrap piece, is they want to make a line or do something, so they go like this. Now they got a blob, so they burned a blob. Can you see it? It's kind of hard to see from here. Is that better? I'm left-handed, so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I need to be on that side.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and move it? Go ahead. Is it long enough for you to get over there?
Move the table back for him.
I can move it. I can get off. And she's electrocuted. Now, the thing about this, of course, is I can't erase anything I do. So you learn now. See, I'm moving it faster. And it's just a very slight outline. It's lighter.
That's better, Rick.
Yeah, this is where, like, the light is saved. The light is hitting on the side, so I can go very carefully, or I can bring it way down to 2. Give this a few seconds. This particular one's about 7 heartbeats to heat up, and about 7 heartbeats to start cooling down. So, and that's why I always have this over here before I hit it, because I'd hate to hit it thinking I have it really cool, and I end up with a big black block.